Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, PDAC 2022 and Commodity TV as a media partner. And it's my honor and pleasure now to talk to the famous Sean Roosen, the CEO of Osisko Development. Sean, good morning. How are you?
Joachim, always a pleasure to be here, and glad to talk to you again, and all the European followers, and certainly very exciting times over here at Osisko Development.
Yeah, definitely. Osisko Development is our first interview with your, let's call it, new baby. So maybe you can remind our viewers shortly, where are you based and what are you doing there?
Yeah, so we started this company back in just at the end of 2020, and really it was a 2021 story. The most recent news is the acquisition of the Tintic property in Utah, which is about 40 miles south of Bingham Canyon, one of the most famous copper mines in the world. And we've acquired a 14,000 acre patented land package that covers about 22 historic mines there. And that's pretty exciting. And most recently on that package, there's been a discovery in a high-grade epithermal system, as far as we can tell, which is quite spectacular. And we're just in the process right now of we took ownership on May 28th. We closed that deal and two financings for 119 million US dollars on one of them and 103 million Canadian on the second one. So it's been a very exciting month. And we're working very hard to integrate Tintic into the company. I was down there just this week actually, and just came back to Toronto at PDAC, and we're just getting ready to start publishing some of the updated information from that project. It was privately held, so the market's never seen this story before. And it's located in the Tintic district by Provo, Utah, on the prolific porphyry belt that runs up and down northwestern Canada in the US and all the way down through into Mexico and South America. So historically, it was mined by Kennecott from 1960 through to 1995, produced about 3 million ounces as byproduct, as flux for the Bingham smelter. Also had a silver lead zinc mine there called the Bergen, and a significant copper gold target that we're working on right now. We hope will be a porphyry at depth is what we're targeting there. So this project's got quite a bit going on. Two types of gold mineralization, a significant amount of silver lead zinc, and a copper gold exploration target. So pretty excited about that, and it's currently in production at small scale. Produced about 15,000 ounces last year.
Nice.
At 35 tons a day. So pretty interesting grade profile here. And this was a brand new discovery in a brownfield camp, just the way we like them. This is the MO of Osisko. We were able to get in and buy it early before the market saw it. We paid 182 million US for it. And we're underground mining in there right now. We're just shaping up. So we've driven about 750 feet of tunnel along the main structure called the T2. And we're doing some step out crosscuts along it from the underground. It's about 650 feet or about 200 meters deep. So pretty shallow. We've also just in the process of, we got a permit for a ramp to drive in there. So we're activating that. But currently there's an active head frame and an underground shaft and underground mine development from the previous owners. So that's pretty exciting. And it's a small scale production right now, but we're looking to grow it.
Where do you see Trixie then with the production, let's say in the near term future? I mean, 45 tons per day, as you said, is small scale, but to where or to what point you want to develop that then?
Well, we're looking at 300 to 500 tons a day in the short term, over the next 24 months to ramp that up. Once we have the underground ramp access and we switch over to fully mechanized mining, it'll be easier to get those tons. We're currently working on upgrading the mill processing facility there as well. It has a fully permitted mill on site building, and we're going to be doing some upgrades to that as well. So that'll be the short term, but exceptionally, this is a project that's making money just during the exploration development phase, which we haven't really seen too many of these things before. And anytime we can get onto a brand new discovery historic camp, and this was a prolific camp. It had 5 gold mines up along this trend, and there was a deposit called the 7585 that ran from 1960 to 1995, and they stopped at the water table. So a significant amount of upside there. They stopped at about 400 meters. So it's relatively shallow again, and all those deposits continue at depth after that. So we got a couple ways to win on this one. And the state of Utah is one of the best places in the world to be investing right now. And I think that, given the way that the world is working on strategics, we're based in British Columbia, Utah, and San Antonio, Mexico. So it's pretty tight land package for us, and it goes to the credit of what we're trying to build with our cornerstone asset, the Cariboo Gold Project.
So absolutely. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is, part of our plan was to have three projects in the company, with Barkerville being the big cornerstone asset that we just put out a PA study that would get us to 300,000 ounces a year if we were to execute that program. But there'll be a few steps along the way before we get to that 8,000 ton a day, 297,000 ounce a year PA that we put out here last couple of weeks. And then, in terms of what we're doing in Mexico with San Antonio, we're processing a stockpile there right now. We're processing about 6,000 tons a day. Expect to extract around 15,000 ounces from that test mining this year. And then on to the bigger project there in Mexico as well. So we've got three things on the go. The both Trixie and Mexico are relatively low capex, and the bigger project at Caribou, which has, it's mining camp with over 83 kilometers of mineralized trend, and we've only explored about 4.5% of the property so far, the mineralized trend. So it's a huge property, over 2,000 square kilometers there. So we've got the three legs on the stool now, and we're just driving hard. We've got full money in the bank, no debt, and we're over $170 million of cash after the transaction. So that's our execution strategy, is just to stay on track and execute the plan. And we've got enough exploration at Caribou and at Trixie and in Mexico to keep us going. We'll backfill the pipeline as we get further into this. But we're looking to put these three projects to keep advancing them simultaneously. But Trixie is obviously in the here and now, and it'll be the focus for the rest of this year, while Caribou is mostly focused on the EA and permitting process, as well as a completed feasibility study.
Okay, super. What capex do you think you need for Utah and for Mexico? Because it looks like those two you can really fast track into production, right?
Yeah, we haven't put out numbers yet, Jochen, but it's not particularly capex intensive in Utah. We're just working on the plan now, and we'll come out with that fairly soon. Mexico as well. We'll probably sometime in July we'll put out the numbers on what we think there is going on there. We did in the case of San Antonio, Mexico. We picked up a 15,000 ton a day plant that was operating at in Nevada that's on site now. So we're protected on the equipment side, that we were able to procure the major equipment a year and a half ago. So that plant is just waiting for permitting, and it'll be relatively low capex to install it. It's heap leach open pit oxide to start with. We drilled 27,000 meters in Mexico last year. So that resource is coming up. So that one, is relatively low capex as well. We're working to get those numbers out to the public as soon as we can. And then on the Cariboo Gold Project, again, we've completed about 600,000 meters of drilling there, over 3,550 holes. So it's a significant resource, but again, it's really on a small area, and we only drilled down to a depth of 350 meters. The deposit remains open at depth, and we have mineralized intercepts all the way down to 950 meters, and certainly good showings down to 600 meters where we have more knowledge. So there's quite a bit of opportunity just to go at depth on the existing infrastructure there. And then we have about 10 targets up and down the mineralized trend that we're ready to drill, but we decided not to capitalize those until we get underground and get going on what we have now. We published 3.47 million ounces measured and indicated at the Cariboo Gold Project in BC, as well as another 1.6 million in inferred. So we'll finish the drilling from underground once we get underground there, and we're just waiting for permits on that one. And then we continue to look at the Trixie project. As I say, we just got control of it. So we put out a 43-101 property report on Friday of last week. So that's available on the website as well. And we'll be adding to that in a big way over the next month or two.
Okay, super. Let's come shortly back to the Caribou project, because I saw also that you want to be already, the first gold pour is targeted for Q1 2024. So that is only like 2 years away from here, which is great. But what made you, with the change from the previous economics with 4,750 tons per day, now up to 8,000 tons per day?
Well, the PA study is meant to demonstrate that the mine can go bigger. And it will go in a step process. We'll probably start at 1,500 to 2,000 tons a day with our existing QR mill setup. And then the permit, the initial permit that we're asking for in the bigger mine structure is 4,750 tons a day. So we'll look to achieve that. And after that, we'll apply for an expanded permit once we've achieved that. So it's a step process, but we want the market to start thinking about the fact that this project can go 297,000 ounces a year, and it is scalable. So the main goal with that was to get that out there so that we could talk about it and get people to think about how big this project could be, because we've always believed that we end up with multiple ramp access mines up and down this trend with a central processing facility. But we won't get to 8,000 tons a day for a while, but we want to start out with with what we have and get underground. And we think that once we get underground, it'll be easier to drill. 43-101 is not particularly easy to work on narrow vein underground mines because you need a lot of drilling. Often 12.5 meter centers are better. So that's the challenge there. But once we're underground, we'll be able to do a much better job of defining the rest of those ounces. And we think that that'll bring big benefits to the shareholders as we get that done. And then, so in the meantime, this year we'll be focused on the underground development that's fully permitted at Trixie, fully permitted mill site, and fully permitted ramp construction. And then as we get the permits in BC, we'll get more aggressive there as well.
Okay, super. And I saw also with those 8,000 tons per day, you have then like a shortened mine life, of course, 12 years, but the initial capital cost is only $122 million. Is that the plan then, probably, that you can finance the expansion out of the cash flow?
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll get underground right now on the first phase on that, sort of 1,500 to 2,000 ton a day plan. We'll do the underground development. That'll allow us to get better economics as we'll pull in more of the ounces, and we'll have better control on the costs. In the PA study, there's quite a bit of dilution was added and quite a bit of buffer on Capex and OpEx. So we want to bring those numbers back down through the proof of concept by going back underground with that step one. And we can do that relatively cheaply because we have the QR mill. We have a brand new road header on site. We have a brand new ore sorter on site. So as soon as we get released to go and do that work, we'll set a portal probably in the shaft zone as well, or in that area. And we'll be looking to access the bulk of the ore body, which is in that shaft zone of the deposit, sooner rather than later. And I think that that'll be an important step for us to be able to start to open up the underground and set the stage to get to that 4,750, and then onwards and upwards from there.
Okay, super. I saw also with the AIC of $961 per ounce gold. I mean, that is quite great, I would say, really, in that inflationary environment. So have you figured in already the latest inflation developments?
Yeah, that inflation came in pretty hard and upped the cost from where we were originally. The advantage that this mine has is going to be on BC hydroelectric, which is quite a bit more economic than diesel. And we also, by operating this new road header, which is much like Elon Musk's boring machine, it gives us advantages because it does make better progress. It is electric and it works 24/7, and it can be run autonomously from surface, even if it needs to be. And it can also do ground control bolt work while it's actually mining. So we're commissioning two technologies on this mine, and they both have a significant advantage on the OpEx and the all-in sustaining costs.
Okay, super. Well, that sounds fantastic to me. So if I get that right, like a little bit of a summary, if I take now the Trixie mine and you say to me like 300 to 400 tons per day, that could bring that already to 120,000 ounces then per year, right?
Yeah, that's the target, is to get into that, that 100,000 ounce a year early stage production with relatively low Capex.
Yeah, and Mexico, another 100,000 ounces?
Yeah, I think it'll probably start out, 40, 50, but the the ability to ramp that project up as well is there, and we're working hard to sort of step it up. But it's a relatively low capex to get into that original 50,000 ounce window. And as I say, we have the equipment purchased and on site, awaiting permitting, and so we'll step that. But once we're up and running, if you were able to run the mill at full capacity, we'd be well past the 100,000 ounce a year mark. But we got to walk before we run on that one.
For sure,
it's a big challenge in this environment. I think things are going to start to calm down. The supply chain will start to catch up over the next 12 to 18 months. But we took some steps year and a half to 2 years ago to protect ourselves. On the Cariboo Gold Project, we also have a full comminution circuit, crushers, and screens and ball mills that we bought 2 years ago for $5 million. It's probably worth significantly more than that now, probably 4 or 5 times worth if we had to buy it new. And it's been stored in Prince George. It's all brand new gear from a project that didn't go forward, that was purchased by Hudbay in 2013. So we were in pretty good shape on protecting our side of the supply chain. And like I say, we do have the road header and the ore sorter on site. So those are significant advantages to us. So we saw this inflation coming. We didn't quite anticipate how intense it could be, but we've done our best to protect on it.
Fantastic. So could we say 2025 going forward, you should be a 500,000 ounce producer?
I don't know if we'll get it in 2025, but we're sure going to give it a good shot to get as close to that as we can.
Super. I like that. Fantastic. Last question. You said already you are super cashed up. Who are your main shareholders? Who are largest shareholders?
So our largest shareholders are our traditional institutional players. Osisko Gold Royalties owns plus 45% of the company, which I'm also the executive chairman of and the founder. And as you know, the Osisko Group, we've incubated several things. We now have 6 companies called Osisko listed on the TSX, 2 of them listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And as a group, we tend to try and make sure that we have the ownership. We're alongside the shareholders that we invite in. We also have a fair contingent of high wealth individuals that joined in the non-brokered financing. And I'd like to shout out to them. Thank you very much for your support. Looking forward to working with everybody. It's just been a fast moving company as we relaunched back in the beginning of 2021. And now we've got a significant amount of resource, with 3.47 million ounces measured and indicated in BC and another 1.6 there. We're hoping to put out a resource update at Trixie pretty soon, and also another one in Mexico. So, we're building a significant amount of ounces in well-located areas with very doable projects and relatively light capex considering what we're in pursuit of.
Super, fantastic. Sean, thank you very much for the PDAC interview here. Wish you all the best and talk quite soon to you.
All the best, Jochen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All the best to everybody with their investments.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Sean Roosen, the CEO of Osisko Development, and you heard it. They have, 3 legs off the stool. Things are going really on full throttle, and maybe they add a 4th leg. I don't know. We will see in the future. But
we're good for now. We're good for now.
Yeah. I believe that. Still a ton of work in front of them, but the company stands on real solid columns. And as you know, with Sean Roosen, he is also the solid rock in the mining space with his track record in the past, and the company is fantastically cashed up, has 3 fantastic projects. I really suggest you have a very close look onto this fantastic company. And thank you very much for watching us, PDAC 2022 with Commodity TV and Osisko Development. All the best. Thanks, and bye-bye from Switzerland.
Thank you, Jochen. All the best.